Hey Hunters, Lord here, back with another Monster Hunter Wilds video. We've got some brand new gameplay as well as some good information on Monster Hunter Wilds courtesy of Games Radar, so I thought I'd go ahead and break down the new information into a shorter style video for you guys. I'll be sure to leave a link to the full Games Radar video in the description if you want to see more, but with that being said, let's go ahead and jump straight into it. So first of all, Games Radar was able to play a newer build of the game compared to the open beta test that we all got a chance to look at. However, as they noted immediately, this build that they played is still not the finished version, and they were told that the dev team still plans to make many more performance boosts prior to launch on all platforms, which is especially good to hear. Of course, my fellow PC hunters will also be happy to hear that the dev team noted especially that they are paying attention to the PC version's performance across different hardware, which of course ties in nicely with what they've already told us about doing as much as they can to lower the required specs for PC hardware before Wilds launches next month. According to Games Radar, they played on a base PS5 with the graphics set to prioritize resolution, and the game ran extremely smoothly with no noticeable hiccups. Games Radar also pointed out that the game felt much better than the open beta, which is to be expected, but of course is good to hear nonetheless. Games Radar targeted Hitstop as one of the main reasons as to why this build felt so much better than the beta, and they also said that monsters ran away far less than in the open beta test, which was already noted by the devs in the community update, which of course I'm happy to hear as that was one of my main complaints with the open beta test. We also got a quick look at a returning hammer, which was the Jail Hammer or the Binder Mace, which I fondly remember from way back in Monster Hunter Freedom Unite. This was a pretty dope paralysis hammer that I recall using quite a bit back on the PSP, so it's cool to see it reimagined and back in Monster Hunter Wilds. We also get a short look at what seems to be the Balahara hammer, which is looking very tidy. Games Radar also gave us some more information on Uthduna and her fight, which they said was actually pretty difficult, even more so than Ray Dow. There were some AoE attacks, lots of heavy slams, and an amazing soundtrack, which is of course the most important part of any good Monster Hunter hunt. This is all good to hear in my opinion, as sometimes these larger, lumbering, blob-style monsters can be tricky to nail down and make both a fun and challenging fight. Up next, they talked quickly about the Lalabarina fight and how it feels to actually hunt it, with Games Radar stating that she moves around not quite like any other monster that they've fought in the series so far, quickly becoming one of their all-time favorite hunts. Games Radar also got a chance to hunt Quematrice and Congalula. They first stated that Quematrice felt like a less dopey version of Yuncut Ku, which is pretty cool. I always like the Yuncut Ku fight. Not much info for Congalula was given away, just that he basically fit perfectly within the Wilds vibe. Now, during their playtest, they're actually told that they should avoid playing Lance and Switch Axe, as the changes that the devs are making are so impactful, they felt that the build that Games Radar played on would do those weapons no justice. They also again mentioned the changes that are also coming to Insect Glaive and Sword and Shield, which we did hear about in the pre-launch community update, with the main focus of those weapons making the feel better and the inputs better, as well as a little bit better responsiveness to the focus mode. Now, as far as weapon and armor upgrades, we've definitely had some looks into what's to come, but Games Radar stated that it didn't feel too far off of the World and Rise systems, with a vast weapon tree branching into various upgrade paths for each weapon and your typical armor upgrades. They also gave us some more insight into the skill system, with skills now being more balanced between your weapons, your armor, and your decorations, instead of just decorations and armor. Now, of course, we've known for a while that the more offensive and weapon-specific skills will be found built into weapons, but Games Radar, with their hands on this build, pointed out some cool combos that they spotted, including a lance that had guard and attack boost, a hammer with slugger, and another hammer with charge up, Rapid Morph, which is going to be confirmed returning to Wilds, found on a Charge Blade, and Focus on a Greatsword. Now, it's still unclear how many total skills the end-level weapons will be able to have, but this is super promising as it should mean that there is more endgame weapon variety in Monster Hunter Wilds. As we try to get the right skills into our set for each situation, many different weapons will be needed for their specific skills. The weapon, now having skills, is also of course a consequence of being able to carry 2 weapons into a hunt at a time here in Wilds. Having weapon-specific skills should help each of your different weapons remain powerful and usable during a hunt, even while using the same armor set. This change also seems to target making weapons mean more than just their attack numbers and slots, which I feel is a good progression of the overall weapon system here in the Monster Hunter series, and one I personally can't wait to tinker with. Games Radar did ask if our endgame sets would be more akin to World or Rise as far as the total skill quantity and levels, and while the devs didn't want to give this away, obviously for spoiler reasons, Tokuda-san gave us some more insight into what we can expect from skills in Monster Hunter Wilds. They're of course going to be adding new skills, bringing back some old skills which will include adjusting some of those returning skills, as well as making tweaks to the total levels of some of those returning skills, doing things like dropping levels from 5 down to 3 for the same level of boost, for example. There's plenty more discussed in the Games Radar breakdown, so again, if you want to check that out, I'll be sure to leave a link down in the description. So that's about all there was for this one today, guys. If you are as excited for Wilds next month as I am, why don't you go ahead and drop a like on the video. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel, as it's going to be one of the best places to find things like sets, guides, news, tutorials, and much, much more when Monster Hunter Wilds does finally drop next month. And of course, the best way to never miss an upload is to be subscribed. With all that being said, I want to thank you guys once again for watching today's video. I wish you all a good day and happy hunting.